A senior partner at my law firm offered me a promotion if I would handle his wife's legal work pro bono. I agreed. I prepared every document carefully. On the day I delivered the files, I realized she was not asking me to help with her property portfolio. She was divorcing him, and he did not know yet. I was a mid-level associate at a corporate law firm. I had been working toward partnership for 7 years. I was a year and a half away from the formal partner vote when one of the senior partners, a man named Charles, pulled me aside at an office event. He said he had a small favor to ask. His wife was trying to organize her personal affairs and needed some light legal work done, estate planning and property documentation. He said he would consider the assistance extremely helpful and had heard very positive things about me from the partner committee. He said with a small smile that he thought the upcoming partnership vote should go smoothly for me this year. I understood what he was saying. It was a favor for a favor, unwritten but clear. I agreed. I was told his wife, Miriam, would contact me directly. Miriam called me the next day. She was polite and precise on the phone. She asked for an in-person meeting at a coffee shop rather than at the firm. She said she wanted to keep everything discreet. At the time, I assumed this was standard for any personal matter involving a senior partner's family. At our first meeting, Miriam gave me a detailed inventory of her personal assets. These were assets she had brought into her marriage with Charles, along with assets she had inherited from her family during the marriage. She also gave me a folder of documents showing exactly how those assets were titled and how they had been maintained. Every asset was in her own name only, or in a trust she had funded before she met Charles. Charles had no legal interest in any of them. I prepared the estate planning documents as requested: wills, powers of attorney, advance healthcare directives. I prepared, at her request, a full inventory and valuation of her separate property. I prepared, at her request, a restatement of 2 trusts she controlled, clarifying the trustee's succession. This was all standard work and perfectly appropriate for a pro bono engagement. On our third meeting, Miriam handed me a second folder. She said calmly, "I would like you to draft a petition for divorce." I did not know what to say. She continued, "My husband does not know yet. I have not told him. He has been asked by the partners of his firm to arrange to have his wife's legal work done as a courtesy. He has asked an associate he expects to be grateful and loyal. I am aware that puts you in an impossible position. So I am going to ask you something. I am going to ask you to keep doing your job, which is to complete the work I have requested. Your work product belongs to me. I am protected by attorney-client privilege. Whatever you decide to do about your career, I will support it." She said she had already retained a family law specialist for the actual filing of the divorce, but she wanted the inventory and the trust restatements to be prepared by me first, because they were not her specialist area, and because she wanted everything to be in writing and in order before she filed. I told her I needed 24 hours. I spent that night going through every ethics rule that applied to me. I spoke with a law school professor I trusted. I made very certain of what I was permitted and required to do. My obligation was clear. Miriam was my client. My work product belonged to her. My privilege ran with her, not with her husband. Charles had set up the engagement and asked me to serve his wife. I had served her. The scope of that service was, and had always been, whatever she lawfully asked of me. Charles had assumed that any work I did for Miriam would effectively be visible to him because I was his subordinate. That assumption was not mine to honor. It was, in fact, a violation of privilege for me to tell him anything about her engagement of my services. I completed the work. I prepared the inventory, the trust restatements, and, at her continuing request, a draft divorce petition that her family law specialist could file or revise as she saw fit. I delivered everything to her in a neat binder at our final meeting. She filed 2 weeks later. Charles found out, as I understand it, from process servers at his office. The petition was filed, and his personal assistant handed him the papers that afternoon. He stepped into my office 30 minutes later. He was pale. He asked whether I had known. I said I could not discuss the engagement, and that anything regarding Miriam's legal matters was privileged. He asked whether I had drafted the petition. I said, again, that I could not discuss it. He asked whether I had any idea what this was going to do to my career. I said I had followed my ethical obligations exactly as they were written. He left my office without replying. The partnership vote was, as I expected, not kind to me. I was not made partner that year. Charles voted against me. 2 other partners abstained. I had been warned by a colleague that this was coming. I left the firm 4 months later for another firm that had been courting me for over a year. The new firm offered me partnership within my first 12 months. Miriam and I do not stay in touch. We exchange a brief, cordial message once a year. Her divorce was finalized in her favor. She kept all of her separate property, including, as it turned out, the house Charles thought was his. Charles left the firm about 2 years after I did. I do not know why, and I do not especially care. Here is what I learned. The people who try to buy your loyalty with a favor rarely understand that you have obligations that predate them. If you work in any profession with a code of ethics, it is not just a piece of paper. It is the thing that will, one day, give you the permission to do the right thing when someone powerful is relying on you to do the wrong one. Has someone ever tried to buy your silence at work? Tell me in the comments.